Hello, and welcome to the latest instalment of MFS's Conversations with Connor, where we break down the key property news stories and what they may mean for you. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to share a quick disclaimer. MFS are a bridging loan and buy-to-let mortgage provider and are not financial advisors. The opinions and views expressed in this episode are personal to the host and guests and may not reflect the views of MFS. For more information on MFS, you can find us at www.mfsuk.com. Now, let's get started. Well, we made it. It's been a long year, but just with any year, there's been a lot of ups and downs in 2024. Thankfully, though, as we hope you've noticed, Market Financial Solutions has kept up with it all. Personally, I've had to incorporate every relevant piece of property news, industry data, and commentary within our content, and that equates to a lot of reading. I've probably forgotten more than I can remember about what happened in the market this year. But having said that, there have been certain headlines and events that have stuck with me in 2024. Some are obvious, a la the budget, and others less so. In particular, quirky yet relevant news items tend to catch my eye, especially if they go against all the pessimism that's usually seen in the press. So, for our final Conversations with Connor of 2024, I thought I'd take a look back at some of the biggest news stories and shifts in the market from this year. Don't worry though, I'll avoid rattling off every single news item that's out there, and also this is my list, so my choices are subjective, but hopefully still illuminating. So, without further ado, as we kicked off the year, we marked some much needed price growth in the residential market. Both Halifax and Nationwide recorded surprising rises between late 2023 and January. But probate delays also intensified, which meant some house sales sadly fell through. This maybe, in my mind, was an early sign that 2024 was going to be a bit of a complicated one in the property market. Still, as we pressed on, cautious optimism emerged in February. Analysis from Barclays found that London's prime market held a lot of potential for a rebound in fortunes in 2024, with international interest returning, as well as a reverse countryside exodus pushing demand for city living again. Certain demographic shifts started catching my eye here too. It came to light that some baby boomer homeowners were refusing to downsize in certain locations, such as the Southeast, the Northwest, and the West Midlands. This added to housing shortages in those areas, which property investors could have benefited from by bringing more suitable stock to the rental market. March, obviously, was dominated by then-Chancellor Jeremy Hunt's spring budget. Many column inches were dedicated to analysing the announcements, but for the property scene specifically, landlords benefited at the time from a planned capital gains tax cut, and developers benefited from changes to the general permitted development order rules, which would have allowed for easier conversions. Although tax benefits may have been short-lived here for property investors, as from April 1st, double tax rules on empty homes came into effect, putting into question all those potential holiday-let investments that could have been out there and rental strategies. As we moved into May, it seemed many started to focus on the looming general election, which we'll get to in a bit, and they tried to get ahead of any potential challenges that were coming. Everyone pretty much foresaw a major Labour victory, which in all likelihood would result in major change for the property scene. House prices jumped in the spring, and supply hit an 8-year high ahead of the general election. But clearly it emerged that many homeowners and investors were running for the exit signs. And after baby boomers were allegedly the ones who refused to downsize earlier in the year, they were forecast to lose much of their property wealth to inheritance tax in a fire sale over in the fallout of the election. Yet elsewhere in the market, buyers and investors appeared undeterred. As we reached the halfway point of the year, Savills revealed that the UK housing market returned to its pre-pandemic size, and not a moment too soon. At the same time, analysis from CBRE found that foreign investment in UK real estate had been rising consistently since at least 2022, showing that global interest in our market wasn't dented by any political or economic worries, perceived or otherwise. And then fortunately, we had a bit of a breather as July rolled around. There wasn't much news and the market settled down. If only, right? Of course, the whole month for every industry imaginable was solely concerned with Labour's historic general election win. Just as a reminder, Labour gained 211 seats, while the Conservatives lost 251. Without going over everything that emerged, over 40 bills were announced in the corresponding King's Speech. For the property world, this included commitments to the Renters' Rights Bill, a draft leasehold and common hold reform bill, the Planning and Infrastructure Bill, and etc., etc. Again, following the election, there were mixed responses from the market. We definitely saw an uptick in landlords selling up in August, but amazingly, the FT reported that at the same time, the UK's commercial real estate scene started to recover faster than the rest of Europe's. I think it's always worth remembering that in any market, even dire ones, there's opportunities to be found. This point, I think, was illustrated particularly well in September. A few highlights caught my eye again, and in the rental market, Zoopla revealed that there was 21 people chasing every rental property in the UK. And also, thanks to a certain Disney Plus series, Wrexham emerged as Britain's busiest buy-to-let hotspot for the second year running. And again, in October, both Rightmove and Zoopla recorded record property sales figures. There was rising demand for residential space, followed by hikes in supply for those who were brave enough to face down all those challenges and all those negative headlines. And then came the budget. After months of speculation, we found out that taxes were to rise, house building efforts were to be ramped up, and state spending was to jump. While not exactly revealing the best news for property investors, the budget was nonetheless not as bad as many had feared. In fact, immediately after the budget, a survey from Benham & Reeves, the estate agency, revealed that 84% of landlords plan to stay in the buy-to-let sector without making changes to their portfolio size over the following year, 2025. In fact, 4% expected to actually increase their portfolio size. And then finally, we've reached December. And as of writing, there's plenty of reasons to be optimistic for the coming year. Order forecasts for 2025 are starting to creep out now. And so far, Rightmove expects house price growth across London and the UK, as does Nationwide, Knight Frank, and probably many others. Savills, in fact, its latest 5-year forecast actually expects house price growth of over 23% by 2030. Also, with the Bank of England confirming there could be 4 base rate cuts next year, so long as we keep inflation under control, there's no reason to suspect that better days aren't on their way. And this is what I want to end on, a sense of optimism. We are recovering. Even if it doesn't feel that way at times, we are. Hopefully, 2025 will bring with it a more stable market with more easier wins and obvious investment opportunities. Regardless of what's on the way, though, we will be there for you and your investment plans. Until then, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Rest up, recoup, and we'll see you bright and early in January. Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. You can access our previous episodes in all the usual places, as well as on our website at www.mfsuk.com/podcast. See you next time.